Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thanks for tuning in. This video is going to be about a Chinese pen. Don't be surprised. This is a pen that I was motivated to get because of my nice experience with the Wingsung 601A. So this is another Schaefer balance-like pen, but it's a 233, a Wingsung 233. So it's pretty plain. Functional clip, spring-loaded. You know, it's about as plain as you can get. It's a nice pull-off cap, nice snap to it. And we'll see that tubular nib that we saw in the 601A. A nice little ink window. And when you take off the barrel, there's your first disappointment, is it's an aerometric filler. But in order to use that, I take it off and I squeeze this with my hand, and I'm able to fill up the whole thing because I did flush this pen as I do with all my new pens. I think it's very dangerous, and you know, you're asking for trouble if you take a new pen, especially one inexpensive pen like this made in China, and you ink it up and just try to write with it. You could work well or it could not, but I've had a few experiences that I did not like, so now everything gets flushed. That really snaps in place. So one of the reasons why I got it was because I had an opportunity to pick up these replacement nibs, and they're Fude. The nice little upturn at the end. So this nib didn't unscrew easily, so Bobby told me you have to soak it in hot water, so we will do that. But first we're going to ink it up and write with it as is before we start playing around with the pen. So here's 4 pens that kind of look like it. I mean, very much look like it. This is the 601A. And this is a Schaefer Snorkel, not functional. And here's an Eversharp, which you may not have seen. I'm toying with whether to do an independent video on it or not. Here they are posted, and they make for a long pen posted. Here's a 6-inch ruler. They post securely, they post fairly deeply. And this is actually kind of like a Skyline body with just an interesting different type of cap on it. Probably towards the end of Eversharp before Parker bought them. It has an interesting nib on it, so someday we may see that in action. As we get down to the business end, we'll see 3 tubular nibs. Obviously, Schaefer was the one I would call invented that style. And there's a different nib on the Eversharp. I just wanted to put it there to show how this design is iconic. It's been around for 100 years. The Eversharp pen is probably from the late 40s, early 50s. But, you know, they're interesting. 2 pull-off caps, 2 screw-on caps, so that's, you know, part of the mystique and part of the interest, and it's where pens are all different. I think the ink view window here is a very nice touch. This one also has a nice ink view window in it. I just recently filled it up with ink, so you're not going to really see much in there, but I noticed it was a little bit low. The green color comes through with this light that we have. So let's ink up the 233 and see how it writes. So one thing that's nice about this design is that cap has those nice little fingers in it, which really, you know, get it that secure snap feeling. And as you look into the cap, you'll see there's a nice cap liner in there, a nice single piece unit. So you'd expect this nib to stay wet. 601A never had a drying out issue with that. Chris, you may have asked, what new tools do you have to investigate pens more thoroughly? And I'll say I have this endoscope. Something, I saw, said that might be interesting. Wanted to make certain I got one that was small enough to fit into cap. So now we're going to show what the endoscope sees inside the cap. I'm not a fan of the large focusing distance. The light works well, but I expect it to be better at close-up than it is. But you can definitely see the way the cap has been constructed. It adds another little dimension to our look at pens. So I put in an ink I haven't used in a while. Kind of a dusty red. Always an interesting description from Birmingham Inks, Birmingham Pen Company. Wanted to show that I did get a pretty full fill on that. That took about 5 squeezes of the bladder. Each squeeze ink comes up. There's a breather tube in there. So that's a pretty good fill. I'm very happy with it. You can see the ink window works well. Here's the color card for the ink. Certainly a dusty red I think is an excellent description. Kind of a dark red, and I would definitely say it's crimson. So this is, to me, classic pen design. Pull off cap. It fits okay unposted. It's extremely light. There's a lot of weight in the cap, but when you post it, I think it puts a nice feel to the pen. Yeah, and that's the same kind of transitional section that just goes from the barrel all the way down. You can feel that little step up, but it's pretty far away from the nib to hold it. So this is smooth. Requires no pressure to write. I wrote a number of pages, a letter to Jason. So, it's extremely consistent. I think it works well with this Birmingham ink color in it. This was because I've had it uncapped for probably 3 or 4 minutes, so that's not bad for a little bit of a hard start there after that. So I think the real question is how does it compare to the 601A? You get a little bit more flow if you put some pressure in the downstrokes, but not something you want to do with this pen. So I actually think the 601A is probably an extra fine, and the one in the 233 is probably a fine nib. Again, this is also smooth, but not quite as smooth, but that's what I would expect between an extra fine and a fine. An extra fine has much less contact with the paper. So if you put the same pressure on it, you're going to get a little bit more resistance, even if it is the same amount of smoothness to it. This also lays down a decent amount of ink. So I'll figure out that ink color and give it to you in a note. So overall, I think both of these nibs are great. I think they're worthwhile for those that may not like hooded nibs but want to have that consistency. This tubular nib might give you an option. You definitely see more of the nib. With that feed in the back, it's just a consistent flow. This has that pump filler in it, so you can put a couple milliliters of ink in here pretty easily. So this is going to write for a very long period of time. So overall, I give it thumbs up. So besides a thumbs up, we also need a rating. And this one's pretty easy for me. I'm going to give it an 8.6. So that's based on the fact that this nib works well. I actually enjoy writing with it. The pen is well made. You know, the price is somewhere in the range of $4 to $7, depending upon who you buy from, what color it is. You know, here's some of the auctions that I found on eBay. The fact that you might be able to replace this nib with a Fude nib, and I apologize that I still want to spend a lot of time with this nib before I decide to empty this out, heat this, put this in some boiling water and see if I can get that nib to come off. My guess is it's probably was screwed and glued into place, probably with some lacquer, and that heat is needed to reduce that lacquer, get rid of the adhesion, and allow that nib to unscrew. And then when I put the new nib on, I will probably use some lacquer too. So thank you for watching. May you have many great writing experiences. Explore this great world of pens that we can partake in. Hopefully there's one out there that's exactly what you want or need. You can't always get what you want. So we've reached the end of this video. There will be more to come. May you have a wonderful, exciting day, and the holidays are coming up, so hopefully you can enjoy them also. Put a little bit of sparkle in your day. So until the next one, bye for now. And this nib does work quite well. And actually, the ink has grown on me.